Exodus chapter 28. Send for your brother Aaron and his sons Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. They are the ones I have chosen from Israel to serve as my priests. Make Aaron some beautiful clothes that are worthy of a high priest. Make Aaron some beautiful clothes that are worthy of a high priest. Aaron is to be dedicated as my high priest, and his clothes must be made only by persons who possess skills that I have given them. Here are the items that need to be made: a breastpiece, a priestly vest, a robe, an embroidery shirt, a turban, and a sash. These sacred clothes are to be made for your brother Aaron and his sons who will be my priests. Only gold and fine linen woven with blue, purple, and red wool are to be used for making these clothes. The entire priestly vest must be made of fine linen, skillfully woven with blue, purple, and red wool, and decorated with gold. It is to have 2 shoulder straps to support it and a sash that fastens around the waist. Put 2 onyx stones in gold settings, then attach one to each of the shoulder straps. On one of these stones engrave the names of Israel's first 6 sons in the order of their birth, and do the same with the remaining 6 sons on the other stone. In this way, Aaron will always carry the names of the tribes of Israel when he enters the holy place, and I will never forget my people. Attach 2 gold settings to the shoulder straps and fasten them with 2 braided chains of pure gold. From the same costly material, make a breastpiece for the high priest to use in learning what I want my people to do. It is to be 9 inches square and folded double with 4 rows of 3 precious stones. In the first row, put a carnelian, a chrysolite, and an emerald. In the second row, a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond. In the third row, a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. And in the fourth row, a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. Mount the stones in delicate gold settings, and engrave on each of them the name of one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Attach 2 gold rings to the upper front corners of the breastpiece and fasten them with 2 braided gold chains on to gold settings on the shoulder straps. Attach 2 other gold rings to the lower inside corners next to the vest and 2 more near the bottom of the shoulder straps, right above the sash. Then take a blue cord and tie the 2 lower rings on the breastpieces to those on the vest. This will happen the breastpiece in place. In this way, Aaron will have the names of the 12 tribes of Israel written on his heart each time he enters the holy place, and I will never forget my people. He must also wear on his breastpiece the 2 small objects that he uses to receive answers from me. Under his vest, Aaron must wear a robe of blue wool with an opening in the center of his head. Be sure to bind the material around the collar to keep it from raveling. Along the hem of the robe, weave pomegranates of blue, purple, and red wool with the gold bell between each of them. If Aaron wears these clothes when he enters the holy place as my high priest, the sound of the bells will be heard and his life will not be in danger. On a narrow strip of blue, pure gold, engrave the words, "Dedicated to the Lord." Fasten it to the front of Aaron's turban with the blue cord so he can wear it to his forehead. This will show that he will take on himself the guilt for any sins the people of Israel commit in offering their gifts to me, and I will forgive them. Make Aaron's robe and turban of fine linen, and decorate his sash with fancy needlework. Since Aaron's sons are priests, they should also look dignified, so make robes, sashes, and special caps for them. Then dress Aaron and his sons in these clothes. Pour olive oil on their heads and ordain them as my priests. Make linen shorts for them that reach from the waist down to the thigh, so they won't expose themselves. Whenever they enter the sacred tent or serve as at the altar or enter the holy place, they must wear these shorts, or else they will be guilty and die. The same rule applies to any of their descendants who serves as priests. Exodus chapter 29. When you ordain one of Aaron's sons as my priest, choose a young bull and 2 rams that have nothing wrong with them. Then from your finest flour, make 3 batches of dough without yeast. Shape some of it into larger loaves, some into smaller loaves, mixed with olive oil, and the rest into the thin wafers brushed with oil. Put all of this bread in a basket and bring it when you come to sacrifice the 3 animals to me. Bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the sacred tent and have them wash themselves. Dress Aaron in the priestly shirt, the robe that goes under the sacred vest, and the vest itself the breastpiece, and the sash. Put on his turban with its narrow strip of engraved gold, and then ordain him by pouring olive oil on his head. Next, dress Aaron's sons in their special shirts and caps and their sashes. Then ordain them, because they and their descendants will always be priests. Lead the bull to the entrance of the sacred tent, where Aaron and his sons will lay their hands on its head. Kill the bull near my altar in front of the tent. Use a finger to smear some of its blood on each of the 4 corners of the altar, and pour off the rest of the blood on the ground next to the altar. Then take the fat from the animals inside, as well as the lower part of the liver and the 2 kidneys with their fat, and send them up in smoke on the altar. But the meat, the skin, and the foot still in the bull's stomach must be burned outside the camp as an offering to ask forgiveness for the sins of the priests. Bring one of the rams to Aaron and his sons and have them lay their hands on its head. Kill the ram and splatter its blood against all 4 sides of the altar. Cut up the ram, wash its inside and legs, and lay all of its parts on the altar, including the head. Then make sure that the whole animal goes up in smoke with a smell that pleases me. Bring the other ram to Aaron and his sons and have them lay on their hands on its head. Kill the ram and place some of its blood on Aaron's right earlobe, his right thumb, and a big toe of his right foot. Do the same for each of his sons and splatter the rest of the blood against the 4 sides of the altar. Then take some of the blood from the altar, mix it with the oil used for ordination, and sprinkle it on Aaron and his clothes, and also on his sons and their clothes. This will show that they and their clothes have been dedicated to me. This ram is part of the ordination service. So remove its right hind legs, its fat tail, and the fat on its inside, as well as the lower part of the liver and the 2 kidneys with their fat. Take 1 loaf of each kind of bread from the basket and put this bread together with the meat into the hands of Aaron and his sons. Then they will lift it all up to show it that it is dedicated to me. After this, the meat and bread are to be placed on the altar and sent up in smoke with a smell that pleases me. You may eat the choice ribs from the second ram, but you must first lift them up to show that this meat is dedicated to me. In the future, when anyone from Israel offers the ribs and the hind leg of a ram, either to ordinary priest or to ask for my blessing, the meat belongs to me, but it may be eaten by the priest. This law will never change. After Aaron's death, his priestly clothes are to be handed down to each descendant who succeeds him as high priest, and these clothes must be worn during the 7 days ceremony of ordination. Boil the meat of the ordination ram in a sacred place. Then have Aaron and his sons eat it together with the 3 kinds of bread at the entrance of the sacred tent. At their ordination, a ceremony of forgiveness was performed for them with the sacred food, and only they have the right to eat it. If any of the sacred food is left until morning, it must be burned up. Repeat this ordination ceremony for Aaron and his sons 7 days in a row, just as I have instructed you. Each day you must offer a bull as a sacrifice for sin and as a way of purifying the altar. In addition, you must smear the altar with olive oil to make it completely holy. Do this for 7 days, and the altar will become so holy that anyone who touches it will become holy. Each day you must sacrifice 2 lambs a year old, one in the morning and one in the evening, with each lamb offering 2 pounds of your finest flour mixed with a quart of pure olive oil, and also pour out a quart of wine as an offering. The smell of the sacrifice on the fires of the altar will be pleasing to me. You and your descendants must always offer the sacrifice on the altar at the entrance to the sacred tent. People of Israel, I will meet and speak with you there, and my shining glory will make the holy place. Because of who I am, the tent will become sacred, and Aaron and his sons will become worthy to serve as my priests. I will live among you as your God, and you will know that I am the Lord your God, the one who rescued you from Egypt so that I could live among you. Exodus chapter 30. Build an altar of acacia wood where you can burn incense. Make it 18 inches square and 36 inches high, and make each of its 4 corners stick up like the horn of a bull. Cover it with pure gold and put a gold edging around it. Then below the edging on opposite sides, attach 2 gold rings through which you can put the poles for carrying the altar. These poles are also to be made of acacia wood covered with gold. Put the altar in front of the inside curtain of the sacred tent. The chest with the place of mercy is kept behind the curtain, and I will talk with you there. From now on, when Aaron tends the lamp each morning and evening, he must burn sweet-smelling incense to me on the altar. Burn only the proper incense on the altar, and never use it for grain sacrifices or animal sacrifices or drink offerings. Once a year, Aaron must purify the altar by smearing on its 4 corners the blood of an animal sacrifice for sin, and this practice must always be followed. The altar is sacred because it is dedicated to me. The Lord said to Moses, "Find out how many grown men there are in Israel, and require each of them to pay me to keep him safe from danger while you are counting them. Each man over 19, whether rich or poor, must pay me the same amount of money weighed according to the official standards. This money is to be used for the upkeep of the sacred tent, and because of it I must never forget my people." The Lord said to Moses, "Make a large bronze bowl and a bronze stand for it. Then put them between the altar of sacrifice and the sacred tent, so the priests can wash their hands and feet before entering the tent or offering a sacrifice on the altar. Each priest in every generation must wash himself in this way, or else he will die right there." The Lord said to Moses, "Mix a gallon of olive oil with the following costly spices: 12 pounds of myrrh, 6 pounds of cinnamon, 6 pounds of cane, and 12 pounds of cassia. Measure these according to the official standards. Then use this sacred mixture for dedicating the tent and chest, the table with its equipment, the lampstand with its equipment, the incense altar with all its utensils, the altar for sacrifices, and the large bowl with its stand. By dedicating them in this way, you will make them so holy that anyone who even touches them will become holy. When you ordain Aaron and his sons as my priests, sprinkle them with some of this oil, and say to the people of Israel, this oil must always be used in the ordination service of a priest. It is holy because it is dedicated to the Lord. So treat it as holy. Don't ever use it for everyday purpose or mix any for yourself. If you do, you will no longer belong to the Lord's people. Mix equal amounts of the costly spices, stacked onycha, galbanum, and pure frankincense. Then add salt to make the mixture pure and holy. Pound some of it into powder and sprinkle it in front of the sacred chest where I meet with you. Be sure to treat this incense as something very holy. It is truly holy because it is dedicated to me. So don't ever make any for yourself. If you ever make any of it to use as perfume, you will no longer belong to my people. Of of it to use as perfume, you will no longer belong to my people.